Hello everyone, welcome back to online CET class. Let us discuss the multiple choice questions on the chapter Thermal Properties of Matter. In a waterfall, the water falls from a height of 100 meter. If the entire kinetic energy of water is converted into heat energy, then the rise in the temperature of water will be. See here. So in this problem, there is a waterfall which is having a height of 100 meter. That means it is having potential energy. And this waterfall is going to fall at a certain height of 100 meter. That means the potential energy is completely converted into kinetic energy. And then the entire kinetic energy of water is converted into heat energy. When it is converted into heat energy, then temperature changes or temperature increases. So what is the rise in the temperature of water that we have to calculate? So according to this problem, initially potential energy is completely converted into kinetic energy because because of its potential, it is going to fall from a height of 100 meter. So we can write loss of potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy. Remember, this kinetic energy is completely converted into heat energy. Right? So we know loss of potential energy. Potential energy is given by the equation mgh is equal to gain in kinetic energy. But here this kinetic energy is completely converted into heat energy. So we can choose a specific heat capacity. So which is given by the equation ms delta T. Because kinetic energy is completely converted into heat energy. So now here m will get cancelled. Acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 or we can write 10 meter per second square, and height of the waterfall is given 100 meter is equal to S indicates a specific heat capacity of water. Remember, specific heat capacity of water is that is S equal to 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. Calorie per gram per degree Celsius. If you want to convert in terms of joule, so 1 calorie equal to 4.2 joule. So we will get 4200 joules per kg per Kelvin. So now here in place of S I can write 4200 into delta T. So rise in temperature we don't know, keep as it is. So 10 into 100 will be 1000. So 4200 into delta T, or delta T equal to, here we can write 1000 divided by 4200. So rise in temperature or change in temperature is 0.23 degree Celsius. This is a change in temperature. So 0.23 degree Celsius means option A is right. A 2 kg copper block is heated to 500 degrees Celsius and then it is placed on a large block of ice. That heated copper is going to keep it on a block of ice at 0 degree Celsius. Specific heat capacity of copper is given 400 joule per kg degree Celsius, and latent heat of fusion of water is given 3.5 into 10 raised to 5 joule per kg. Then the amount of ice that can melt is, see here, copper block when it is kept on a large block of ice. Suppose if this is ice block, on this ice block I am going to keep a copper block which is having temperature 500 degrees Celsius. We know that heat is always transferred from higher temperature to lower temperature. That means heat is released by this copper block and then it is absorbed by ice block. So here heat is releasing and then here heat is absorbing. Then the amount of ice that can melt is, when ice absorb heat energy from this copper block so that the temperature of ice cone increases, so then ice is converted into water. So how much amount of ice is converted into water, that we have to calculate. Now let us consider, let x kg be the ice can melt. How much ice can melt into water? Let us take it as x kg can melt into water. Now we have to calculate the value of x. So we know the calorimetry law. Using that law, we can write heat loss equal to heat gain. So we can use, using law of calorimetry, we know that heat lost, here heat lost by copper is equal to heat gain. In this question, heat is gained by ice. Now substitute the value. Here heat lost, we can take again specific heat capacity. So which is given by the equation Q equal to M/S delta T. So this equation we can use here. Heat lost by the copper. So mass of the copper is 2 kg, 2 into specific heat capacity of copper is given, that is 400 into change in temperature. Here the copper block temperature is 500, so that means initially 0. So we can write 500 degrees Celsius minus 0 degrees Celsius is equal to heat gained by the ice. The amount of ice converted into water, we can take it as x into heat gained by the ice. So here ice is converted into water at a constant temperature, that is 0 degrees Celsius, which is called as latent heat of fusion. So we can write here heat gained by the ice. That means here I am going to write latent heat of fusion. We know that latent heat of fusion is given by the equation LF equal to Q divided by M. Now we want the value of Q, so we can write M into LF. So M into LF value we can substitute here. M means mass of the ice, let us take it as X. LF indicates latent heat of fusion of, here it is given water, that is 3.5 into 10 raised to 5. So calculate these value, X equal to 2 into 400 into 500 divided by 3.5 into 10 raised to 5. So calculate this value. So nearly we will get x equal to 8 divided by 7 kg. So 8 by 7 kg amount of ice is converted into water. So 8 by 7 kg, option C is right. A kettle with 2 liter water at 27 degrees Celsius is heated by operating a coil heater of power 1 kilowatt. The heat is lost to the atmosphere at constant rate 160 joules per second. When its lid is open, in how much time will water heated to 77 degrees Celsius with the lid open? Specific heat capacity of water is given 4.2 kilojoule per kg. So we know that energy given by the heater, here the coil heater, it gives certain energy, that is 1 kilowatt. So this energy is equal to sum of energy gained by water, and also energy lost to the atmosphere when the lid is open. Whatever the amount of heat energy is given by the heater, it is used in two factors. So initially it is absorbed by the water, but when the lid of the container or the kettle is open, certain amount of heat energy is lost to the surrounding. So we can write, so by the law of conservation of energy, by the law of conservation of By the law of conservation of energy, we can write energy given by the heater, energy given by heater is equal to sum of energy gained by water, energy gained by water plus energy lost from the lid. Energy lost to the atmosphere when the lid is open. This is according to law of conservation of energy. So energy given by the heater, it is given 1 kilowatt. So here energy given by the heater, in place of energy I am going to write power into time. So we know that the rate of doing work is called power. So that is P equal to W by T, or we can write P equal to W by T. The rate of doing work is power, or the work is done by power into time. So energy, we already studied about work energy theorem. So in place of energy given by the heater, I am going to write power into time is equal to energy gained by the water. Energy gained by the water means amount of heat energy is gained by the water. So amount of heat energy means we can write specific heat capacity ms delta T. Then plus energy lost from the lid to the surrounding. Here again we can write P into T. Let us take it as P1, this is P2. P1 is the amount of heat energy or the power which is given to the water. But P2 is in that certain amount of energy lost to the atmosphere. Let us substitute the value. So power given by the heater, that is 1 kilowatt. 1 kilowatt means 1000 watt into time capacities. Here mass is given, that is 2 liter, 2 capacities. Specific heat capacity of water is given 4.2 into 10 raised to 3 or 4200 we can write kilojoule into delta theta. So delta theta, here it is given 27 degrees Celsius is initial temperature, 77 is final temperature. So change in temperature will be how much? That is 77 minus 27 plus P2 into T. How much amount of energy is lost to the atmosphere? That is 160 joules. So 160 into time capacities. So now we can write 840 T equal to 8.4 into 10 raised to 3 into 50. Or we can write it as, we want the time, how much time will it take? That is T equal to, we will get 8 minute 20 seconds. So the time taken by the water is 8 minute 20 seconds. That is option A. Steam at 100 degrees Celsius is passed into 20 gram of water at 10 degrees Celsius. When water acquires a temperature of 80 degrees Celsius, the mass of water present will be, specific heat capacity of water is given, latent heat of steam is given. See here again, heat gain is equal to heat lost using calorimetry law. So we know that steam at 100 degrees Celsius. At 100 degrees Celsius, so we will get a steam. That steam is passed to the water. When that steam is passed to the water, at which is having 20 gram of mass, initially it is having 10 degrees Celsius. When steam is passed to the water, then automatically water gains that heat energy so that its temperature increases. So the increase in the temperature of water is 80 degrees Celsius. Then what is the mass of the water? We have to calculate mass. So heat gain is equal to heat lost. That concept we can use here because heat is released by steam and it is absorbed by water. Heat lost by steam is equal to heat gained by water. So heat lost by steam equal to, we can write heat lost by steam is equal to heat gained by water. Heat gained by water. So here heat lost by the steam, the amount of heat energy we have to write. So here we know that steam is converted into water at a latent heat of vaporization, that is at 100 degrees Celsius where temperature is constant. At constant temperature, steam is converted into water, so we can call it as latent heat of vaporization. So we know the equation, latent heat of vaporization is given by LV equal to Q divided by M. So we want amount of heat energy, so we can write M into LV. So this equation we can use here. Then heat is lost by the steam to the water. So we can write the equation, that is MLV plus, that is heat lost by the steam, that is we can use specific heat capacity of the steam. So I can write it as S specific heat capacity of water delta theta 2 is equal to heat gain, that is M, this is mass of water, specific heat capacity of water, and this is change in temperature. This is about water and this is about steam. Let us substitute the value. So here we will get, by substituting the value, so mass we don't know, keep as it is. So I am going to write 560 M is equal to 1400. So how we got this value, you can see here. When I am going to consider the heat lost by the steam, so you can observe, let us take it as Q2 equal to MLV plus MS delta theta. 560 into M, keep as it is, plus mass, keep as it is, into 1 into 20. So after calculating this value, we will get 560 M. So this is 540 plus 20 will be 560 M. So directly I can write here 560 M, and here this is 1400. So that is Q1 equal to MS delta theta. So I can write 20 into 1 into 70. So that gives 1400 calories. So 1400 calories. Substituted this value here. So we can write M equal to 1400 divided by 560. So we got M equal to 2.5 gram. So this is what this much amount of steam is converted into water. Now we have to calculate mass of water, the present mass of water. See here, mass of water is equal to, so initially mass of water is 20 gram plus now the converted mass is 2.5 gram. So totally we will get 22.5 gram is the present mass of water. So 22.5 gram, that is option D is right. Certain quantity of water cools from 70 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius in the first 5 minutes and to 54 degrees Celsius in the next 5 minutes. The temperature of the surrounding will be. So we can use Newton's law of cooling here. See here, using Newton's law of cooling, we know the equation. So we know that Newton's law of cooling equation we can use. We already studied in our regular classes, and we know the equation. The rate of loss of heat energy is equal to change in temperature or temperature difference of system and surrounding. Let us write it as theta naught minus theta. See here, theta naught indicates this is the system temperature or body temperature, and theta indicates this is surrounding temperature. So theta naught minus theta, that is system and surrounding temperatures. Then here, according to this problem, body temperature goes from, it is changing from, so body temperature goes from, initially it is having temperature 70 degrees Celsius, then it decreases to 60 degrees Celsius in 5 minutes. Then again it is decreased to 54 degrees Celsius again in 5 minutes. Right? So we can choose two cases. In the first case 70 to 60. In the second case 60 to 54. So we can choose two cases. We will get two equations. So by calculating those two equations, we can easily find the temperature of the surrounding. So let us take the first case, that is 70 and 60 degrees Celsius. So we can use this equation here. So change in temperature means we can write 70 minus 60 divided by change in time is given 5 minutes. Keep as it is, equal to K. So here theta naught minus theta. Theta naught is the body temperature. Body temperature is 70 to 60. So we can calculate the mean value here. So 70 plus 60 divided by 2 minus theta is temperature of the atmosphere or the surrounding. Let us write it as X. Or after calculating this value, we can write 10 divided by 5 equal to K into 65 minus X. Let us take it as equation 1. This is first case. Then come to the 60 and 54 degrees Celsius, that is second case. So again we can write 60 minus 54. Again use this equation here. Change in temperature divided by time is 5 minutes is equal to, so we can write K into, so theta naught is the mean temperature of the object or the body. So we can write 60 plus 54 divided by 2 minus the temperature of the surrounding. Let us take it as X. So calculate this value. 60 minus 54 is 6 divided by 5 is equal to K into, so we will get 57 minus X. Now we got equation 2. So by calculating these two equations, we will get the temperature of the surrounding. So dividing these two equations, dividing equation 1 and 2, so we can write 5 by 3 equal to 65 minus X divided by 57 minus X. So we will get 285 minus 5x equal to 195 minus 3x. So now easily we will get the value of x, that is 45 degree Celsius. So this is the temperature of the surrounding, x equal to 45 degree Celsius. So option A is right. The two ends of a metal rod are maintained at a temperature 100 degrees Celsius and 110 degrees Celsius. The rate of flow of heat in the rod is found to be 4 joule per second. If the ends are maintained at the temperature 200 and 210 degrees Celsius, then the rate of flow of heat will be. That means, observe here, the metal rod is maintained at the temperature, one end is 100, another end is 110. So there is a temperature difference. See here, if I am going to consider this is a metal rod. So one end of the metal rod, it is maintained at the temperature 100 degree Celsius, and the other end is maintained at the temperature 110 degree Celsius. We know that heat transfer from higher temperature to lower temperature. So that means heat starts to flow from the point B to point A. So here it is already given. The rate of flow of heat is how much? 4 joule per second. Suppose if the ends are maintained at the temperature 200 and 210. If it is 200 degrees Celsius, if it is 210 degrees Celsius, then what is the rate of flow of heat? So that we have to calculate. See here, we know that the rate of flow of heat means we can use the equation dq divided by dt equal to, we know that thermal conductivity is given by K into A into delta T divided by X. But first we can observe change in temperature. So initially delta T1 equal to, change in temperature means we know that final temperature minus initial temperature. So 110 minus 100, that gives 10 degrees Celsius. In the second case, change in temperature is, final temperature is 210, initial temperature is 200. So 210 minus 200, that gives again 10 degrees Celsius. Now you can observe change in temperature in both the cases is same. That is 10 degrees Celsius. That means change in temperature in the first case is equal to change in the temperature in the second case, which is equal to 10 degrees Celsius. So when change in temperature is the same, hence the rate of flow of heat is also same. Hence rate of heat flow or flow of heat will be same. Here initially it is 4 joule per second. In the second case also it is again 4 joule per second, because change in temperature in both the cases is the same. So option C is right. The value of coefficient of volume expansion of the glycerin is 5 into 10 raised to minus 4 per Kelvin. The fractional change in the density of the glycerin for a rise of 40 degrees Celsius in its temperature is, see here we are having two cases. We know that initially coefficient of volume expansion of the glycerin is given. So that means coefficient of volume expansion is denoted by gamma. Gamma is given 5 into 10 raised to minus 4 per Kelvin. The fractional change in the density of the glycerin for a rise of temperature 40 degrees Celsius in its temperature is. So here we have to calculate fractional change in the density. So here this is all about volume expansion and density. So we know that volume expansion is given by the equation. So V equal to V naught or V dash equal to V into 1 plus gamma delta T. This equation we studied in volume expansion. So V dash indicates volume expansion or cubical expansion. V is its initial volume. Then we know that density is given by rho equal to mass per unit volume. So we know about these two equations. But here the fractional change in the density of the glycerin for a rise of 40 degrees Celsius in its temperature is. So now I am going to consider, after changing the density of the glycerin, we can write this is initial density, and now we can write the change in density rho dash equal to same equation m divided by V indicates its initial volume. So after expansion volume changes, that is cubical or volume expansion. So instead of V I am going to write V dash. So V dash means what? M divided by, so we can write V into 1 plus gamma delta T. So now we are having rho and rho dash value. So now easily we can find fractional change in the density. Fractional change means we can write rho dash minus rho divided by rho. This value we can calculate. So rho dash means what? M divided by V into 1 plus gamma delta T minus rho value is what? Initial density M divided by V whole divided by M by V. So M by V will get cancelled. So fractional change in the density of the glycerin. So rho dash minus rho can be easily written as delta rho divided by rho equal to minus gamma delta T divided by 1 plus gamma delta T. Now substitute the value. Minus rho delta T. So here the value is given 5 into 10 raised to minus 4 into change in temperature. So here it is given rise in temperature is 40 degrees Celsius divided by 1 plus 5 into 10 raised to minus 4 into change in temperature is 40. Calculate this value. So we will get nearly delta rho divided by rho is equal to 0.02. So remember, this is a fractional change in the density of the glycerin. So 0.02. That means option A is right. 4 identical rods of same material are joined ends to end to form a square. If the temperature difference between the ends of the diagonal is 100 degrees Celsius, then the temperature difference between ends of the other diagonal will be. See here, 4 identical rods are joined end to end, so that forms a square. So now I am going to consider a square. Let us write the ends, the end points A, B, C and D. The temperature difference between ends of the diagonal, so let us consider the diagonal A to C. So we can write the diagonal A to C here. So from A to C we are having the temperature. It is given temperature difference is 100 degrees Celsius between point A to point C. Difference in the temperature is given how much here it is? This is delta 100 degrees Celsius because this is change in the temperature between the points A and C, which is a diagonal of the square. So difference in the temperature is 100. That means at point A it is having temperature T degrees Celsius and at point C it is having temperature T plus 100 degrees Celsius. So difference in the temperature means T plus 100 minus T. So T will get cancelled, so we will get 100 degrees Celsius. So this is temperature difference along the diagonal of the square. Now the temperature difference between ends of the other diagonal. So at other diagonal, that means between B to T, what is the temperature difference we have to calculate. Observe here, this point B is exactly the midpoint of A and C. You can observe A, B, C. So point B is the midpoint of A and C. What is the temperature at A? See here, temperature at A is T degrees Celsius. Temperature at C is T plus 100 degrees Celsius. So temperature at B is the mean midpoint of A and C. So easily we can calculate temperature at B. So temperature at B means temperature of A, that is T, plus temperature of C, that is T plus 100 divided by 2. This is the mean value because B is the midpoint of A and C. So now we will get 2T plus 100 divided by 2. 2T plus 100 divided by 2, or we can write T plus 5 degrees Celsius, T plus 50 degrees Celsius. So this is temperature at B. Let us take it as TB. Similarly, at point D, again observe the diagram. Point D is the midpoint of A and C. A and C midpoint is B as well as D. So that the point D temperature is again same. At D we will get directly we can write it is also having same temperature T plus 50 degrees Celsius because B and D are the midpoints of A and C. Now we have to calculate temperature difference between the ends of the other diagonal, that is temperature difference between B and D we have to calculate. Temperature difference means what? Delta T. So delta T means that is temperature at D minus temperature at B. So temperature at D is T plus 50 degrees Celsius minus temperature at B is again same T plus 50. So T plus 50 minus T minus 50, that will get cancelled. So we will get 0 degrees Celsius. Temperature difference between the ends of other diagonal is how much? 0 degrees Celsius. So option A is right. 300 gram of water at 25 degrees Celsius is added to 100 gram of ice at 0 degrees Celsius. The final temperature of the mixture is, see here, 300 gram of water is added to ice, so that what will happen? Water is having high temperature, ice is having low temperature, so that ice will absorb heat energy which is released from the water. So after the mixture of water and ice, what is their final temperature that we have to calculate? See here, we know that. So let us consider. So this container is having water. So water mass is given 300 gram and also its temperature is given 25 degrees Celsius. So in the other container, let us consider ice is having mass 100 gram and temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. Here water is having high temperature, so it releases heat energy. So here heat rejection takes place, or the amount of heat energy is released, and this ice will absorb heat. Heat absorb. Right? Here heat will release, here heat will be absorbed. Remember latent heat of fusion. According to latent heat of fusion, so ice is converted into water at constant temperature or without any rise in the temperature. So we know that at 0 degrees Celsius, both solid and liquid states of a substance coexist together in thermal equilibrium. So that concept you can remember here. See here, I am going to write heat required. That means Q equal to M into LF. So during the conversion of water to ice, how much amount of heat is required? So we know about latent heat of fusion. So we can write LF equal to mass of ice and latent heat of fusion is given. Substitute here Q equal to, we will get 100 into 80 into 4.2. Right? So we will get Q equal to, that is 100 into here 100 gram of ice and then latent heat of fusion, you should remember, that is 80 into 4.2. So we will get 33,600 joules. Then here heat rejection by the water. So we can write Q dash equal to specific heat capacity MC delta T. So this is 300 gram of water. Specific heat capacity of water is 4.2. Delta T is 25 degrees Celsius. That is 25 minus 0. That is again 25. So we will get 31,500 joules. So now we got heat rejection and heat absorbed, or heat lost equal to heat gain. So here I want change in the amount of heat energy. So directly we can write 33,600 minus 31,500, that is Q minus Q dash, that gives 2,100 joules. This is change in the amount of heat energy. But we know that Q equal to mass into latent heat. So in place of delta Q, directly I can write M into L equal to 2,100. So substitute the value of L here. So here we can write M into 80 into 4.2 is equal to 2,100. So M equal to, we got 6.25 kg, or it is in terms of gram. So this is mass 6.2 gram. So that means, remember, initially ice is having totally 100 gram. 100 gram of ice, in that 6.25 gram of ice at 0 degrees Celsius. 100 minus 6.25 will be how much? That is 93.75 gram. 93.75 gram of ice is converted into water at 0 degrees Celsius, except 6.25 gram. 93.75 gram is completely converted into water at constant temperature, that is because of latent heat of fusion. So I am going to write mass of water is how much? 300. How much mass of ice is converted into water? This is mass of ice converted into water is how much? That is 93.75. So I am going to write. So total value will be 393.75. This is converted into water at 0 degree Celsius. Right? Remaining is what? It is 6.25 gram. So 6.25 gram of ice. It is ice at 0 degree Celsius. That means at 0 degree Celsius at the constant temperature 393.75 gram is converted into water, but remaining 6.25 gram is ice, but at the same temperature, that is 0 degree Celsius. So after mixture of water and ice, the final temperature is 0 degree Celsius. So 0 degree Celsius means option D is right. Remember, if you know the concept of latent heat of fusion, then it is not necessary to calculate, right? Because we know that according to latent heat of fusion, the two states of a substance coexist together, solid and liquid, ice and water coexist together, or ice is converted into water or water is converted into ice at constant temperature, that is 0 degree Celsius, right? Then a slab of stone of area 0.36 meters square and thickness 0.1 meter is exposed on the lower surface to steam at 100 degrees Celsius. A block of ice at 0 degrees Celsius rests on the upper surface of the slab. In 1 hour, 4.8 kg of ice is melted. Then thermal conductivity of the slab is. So latent heat of fusion of ice is given. So we have to calculate thermal conductivity. Directly we are having the equation. Everything is given. So we know the formula K equal to. See here first we can write the formula K equal to minus Q by T divided by A into delta theta divided by delta X. We can use this equation to find thermal conductivity. So givens you can observe area is given 0.36 meter square. Thickness is equivalent to delta X, that is 0.1 meter. Change in temperature. So T1 is 100. Here it is given T1 is 100. T2 is 0. 100 minus 0, that gives delta theta. That will be again 100 degree Celsius. Time is given 1 hour. 1 hour means 3600 seconds. Then mass is given 4.8 kg. So latent heat of fusion is also given 3.36 into 10 raised to 5 joule per kg. So we want thermal conductivity. Substitute all the givens in the above equation. So we will get K equal to minus 16.128 into 10 raised to 5 divided by 3600 whole divided by 0.36 into 100 divided by 0.1. So we will get K equal to 44.8 divided by 36. So the value of K is 1.24 joule per meter degree Celsius. So thermal conductivity value is 1.24. So option A is right. The length of metallic rod is 5 meter at 0 degrees Celsius and becomes 5.01 meter on heating up to 100 degrees Celsius. Then linear expansion of the metal will be. See here, initial length of the metallic rod, let us take it as L0, 5 meter. Its initial temperature, let us take it as T1, 0 degrees Celsius. Then its length increases to, let us take final length as L. It is given 5.01 meter. And then it is heated up to, final temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. So here you can observe the options. All the options are given in terms of per degree Celsius. This is the SI unit of coefficient of linear expansion, which is denoted by alpha. So we have to calculate alpha here. We know the equation alpha equal to increase in length per unit length per degree increase in temperature. So directly substitute all the value in the given equation. 0.01 divided by 5 into 100, delta T is change in temperature, that is T2 minus T1. So alpha equal to, we will get 2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius. This is the value of coefficient of linear expansion. So 2 into 10 raised to minus 5, that is option D is right. The temperature of equal masses of three different liquids A, B and C are 12 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees Celsius and 28 degrees Celsius respectively. The temperature when A and B are mixed. When A and B are mixed, then temperature becomes 16 degree. When B and C are mixed, then temperature becomes 23. Then the temperature when A and C are mixed is. So there are three equal masses of three different liquids A, B and C. So let us take temperature of A is initially 12 degrees Celsius. Temperature of B is 19 degrees Celsius. Temperature of C is 28 degrees Celsius. So we can use the law of calorimetry, total heat lost which is equal to total heat gain. So that concept we can use here. So this is according to law of calorimetry. According to law of calorimetry, we can write total heat lost equal to total heat gain. So this concept we can use here. But there are three cases AB, BC, CA. First concentrate on the first case, that is when A and B are mixed. When A and B are mixed here, then what is the final temperature? The final temperature, let us take it as T1 equal to 16 degrees Celsius. So therefore we can write the formula heat lost equal to heat gain, that is from A to B. You can observe between A and B, temperature at A is 12, temperature at B is 19. So we know that higher temperature to lower temperature the heat will be transfer. That is from B to A the heat is transfer. So we can use law of calorimetry. So directly we can write latent heat, here we can use specific heat capacity, that is MS. This is about A liquid into change in temperature T1 minus TA. T1 means final temperature. E is equal to M specific heat capacity of B, TB minus T1. This is heat lost equal to heat gain according to calorimetry law. So we can write here by substituting the value we will get. Directly I am going to write the equation 4SA equal to here 3SB. Let us take this is first case. Similarly come to the second case. In the second case, when B and C are mixed here, when B and C are mixed, the final temperature will be, what is the final temperature when B and C are mixed here? That is given T2 equal to 23 degrees Celsius. Again use the same equation. So we can write MSB T2 minus TB equal to MSC TC minus T2. Substitute the value. Here we can write 4SB equal to 5SC. Let us take it as equation number 2. Now come to the third case. In the third case, that is when A and C are mixed. So we don't know the final temperature here. Final temperature, let us consider T3. We don't know the value of T3, that we have to calculate. The same procedure we can use here, that is MSA. Here T3 minus TA equal to MSC, that is TC minus T3. Substitute the value. Here again we will get SA equal to 15 divided by 16 SC. This is from, remember, From equation 1 and 2 we got 15 by 16 into SC. So we can write m equal to, here in the above equation substitute their value, m into SA value is how much? 15 divided by 16 SC into T3 minus TA capacities, which is equal to MSC TC minus T3. Substituting these values from equation 1 and 2. So we will get 15 T3 minus T12 equal to 16. This is 28 minus T3. Substituting the values. Now calculate this value. We will get 31 T3. Calculate this value. We will get 31 T3 equal to 628. Therefore, T3 equal to, we will get 20.25 degrees Celsius. This is the temperature when A and C are mixed. Using equation 1 and 2, we got the final temperature, that is 20.25 degrees Celsius. 20.2, that is option C is right. In a room where the temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, a body cools from 61 degrees Celsius to 59 degrees Celsius in 4 minutes. The time taken by the body to cool from 51 to 49 degrees Celsius will be. See here, the temperature initially 30 degrees Celsius, room temperature is given, let us write it as T0 equal to 30 degrees Celsius. A body cools from, means the temperature decreases from 61 to 59 degrees Celsius in 4 minutes. That means I can consider maximum temperature is 61 degrees Celsius. Minimum temperature is 59 degrees Celsius. So change in temperature will be 61 minus 59 means 2 degrees Celsius. In the time dt is how much? 4 minutes. Then similarly, this is time and change in temperature. So similarly, what is the mean temperature? So mean temperature means we know that. So temperature Tm we can write equal to, mean temperature means 61 plus 59 divided by 2, that gives 60 degrees Celsius. So now I am using Newton's law of cooling equation. There are two cases. This is all about the first case. In the first case, I am going to use Newton's law of cooling. So according to Newton's law of cooling, let us consider the equation delta T divided by dt is equal to K into Tm minus T0. Remember, Tm indicates mean temperature, T0 indicates surrounding temperature or room temperature. The room temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. The mean temperature is calculated 60 degrees Celsius. Substitute the values here. So that is 2 by 4 equal to K into 60 minus 30. So we will get K equal to 1 by 60. We got K value. This is first case. Come to the second half of the question. The time taken by the body to cool from 51 to 49 degrees Celsius. So again use Newton's law of cooling in the second. This is about the first case. In the second case I am using the same equation. So we can write. So here it is changing from 51 to 49 with respect to time. So I can write 51 minus 49 is change in the temperature divided by time. We have to calculate capacities equal to K value is calculated from the first case, that is 1 by 60 into the mean value is, in the second case, mean value Tm means 51 plus 49 divided by 2 minus room temperature is T0. So substitute the value here, we will get, so 120 divided by dt equal to 50 minus T0. After calculating, so we will get dt equal to So 120 divided by 20. So T naught means here 50 minus 30 will be 20. So dt equal to, we will get 20. 120 divided by 20 means 6. This is in terms of minute. So here 6 minute is taken by the body to cool from 51 to 49 degrees Celsius. That is option C is right. A container contains hot water at 100 degrees Celsius. If in time T1 temperature falls to 80 degrees Celsius and the time T2 temperature falls to 60 degrees Celsius forms 80 degrees Celsius, then see here, container contains water, hot water. Hot water temperature is how much? 100 degrees Celsius. Suppose in the time T1, initial time T1, temperature falls to 80 degrees Celsius. That means 100 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius temperature decreases in the time. Here in certain time it is given. That is in the first case 100 to 80. And the time T2 temperature falls to 60 degrees Celsius from 80 degrees Celsius. That means in the first case the temperature difference is greater as compared to second case. You can observe here. So temperature in first case, the temperature difference is greater as compared to second case. So when it is compared to second case, in the first case temperature difference is greater. So the rate of loss of heat, will be very faster or it will be very quicker. So here we can write T1 is less than T2. That is option C is right. 90 gram of water at 30 degrees Celsius and 5 gram of ice at minus 20 degrees Celsius are mixed together in a calorimeter. What is the final temperature of the mixture? Given specific heat of ice as well as latent heat of fusion. That is about ice is given. So specific, remember specific heat of ice. It is given how much? Let us take it as S ice is given 0.5 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. Specific heat of water, we know that 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. Latent heat of fusion of ice is given 80 calorie per gram. Then heat here, ice will absorb heat while hot water will release it. Remember, ice absorb heat energy while hot water releases heat energy. Let us consider capital T, that indicates the final temperature after absorbing. So final temperature I am going to take it as capital T. So according to law of calorimetry, we know that heat lost equal to heat gain. That concept I am going to use here. According to the principle of calorimetry, heat lost equal to heat gain. First we can concentrate on heat given by the hot water. So heat given by water. So that first case we can calculate here. That is Q1 equal to, let us take MSW. This is all about water. So MW, SW, delta T. Substitute the values here. Let us take it as Q1. Mass of water is given 19 grams. Specific heat capacity of water is 1. Change in temperature, that is we don't know, 30 degrees Celsius minus T. So calculate this value, we will get, we can write 570 minus 19T. Let us take it as first equation. That is heat given by the water. Then come to the ice. Heat absorbed by ice. heat absorbed by ice, we can write Q2 equal to, see here this is all about a latent heat of fusion. We know that water is converted into ice or ice is converted into water at a constant temperature. So I am going to write latent heat of fusion. So we can write Q2 equal to, I am going to write it as, this is mass of ice, specific heat capacity of ice into change in temperature, that is 0 minus, it is minus 20 degree Celsius, plus this is latent heat mass of ice into latent heat of fusion of ice, plus here I am going to write, because when heat is gained by the ice, ice is converted into water. So I am going to write mass of ice into specific heat capacity of water into change in temperature. Now substitute all the values. 5 into 0.5 into 20 plus 5 into 80 plus 5 into 1 into final temperature T. So we will get 450 plus 5T. Let us take it as equation 2. Now we got the value of Q1 and Q2. According to the law of calorimetry, we know that. See here. According to calorimetry law, we can write heat lost equal to heat gain, that is Q1 equal to Q2. Calculate this value. Q1 is 570 minus 19T equal to Q2 is 450 plus 5T. So calculating this value, we will get a T equal to 5 degrees Celsius. This is the final temperature after the mixture of water and ice. T equal to 5 degrees Celsius, that is option C is right.